So did it start within the music scene, kind of being out at shows, or is it where did it kind of start?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I mean, I was also a used car guy on Kingston Road too. So I mean,
okay.
But
when nobody's looking, you may have acted a certain way in whatever circumstance. No one's looking, like the shopping cart test. Like,
yeah.
If you put the shopping cart away when no one's looking.
Right.
There's no judgment, but you're doing the right thing in that scenario. So it's almost like in every scenario now, I'm like, what would I want to be doing for my daughter or in front of my daughter?
Right. 2020, because I was getting ready to go to Tokyo. I just got an agent. I mean, things were just about to be just bananas. But I mean, I was bananas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was out of control too. Was able to get engaged. And mad shout out to my fiance, man. She stuck through hell, and that girl's a queen.
Congratulations on all of that.
For her to stick around through everything, I mean, I just, I just gotta just give her a super salute. She always holding on to the person she knew was there. She kind of knew it wasn't me, and she knew that there was a problem, obviously. So, and then we have a beautiful daughter now.
There you go. Congratulations. Welcome to the Little Did You Know podcast. My guest today he's wearing one toque today, but he wears many, many hats. We're going to get into all of them. We're going to dig deep into this. Stay tuned. Najjah Calibur.
What's up, fam?
Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Yes, indeed.
Where to begin? So you are a multi-talented, layered individual. So lots to talk about here. I don't know if you know how we connected ever. I think I saw you perform probably in Oshawa, probably like 15 years
back
ago.
Back in the days on the Boulevard of Linden.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. So I was with Blues Underdog.
Yes, that was it. Okay,
I was in a band called Blues Underdog. Yeah, shout out to the homies. We have 3 different layers of that. We had 3 different groups within that through that time frame. But
nice.
Yeah. That's crazy because I was telling DB, I was like, yo, I recognize Morgan from somewhere. You know what I mean? So I mean, just crossing through paths. But back in the days, that's time traveling right there. You know what I'm saying? That's why you know my age right now. You know what I'm saying? Big man things.
I used to go by Mo Littles. So it would have been a show way back in the day.
Okay.
And your energy was obviously always a thing that stood out. So, and I've just sort of like seen you on social over the years, sort of followed your journey, but we'll get more into that now. Are you still making music?
Yeah, funny you ask. I'm just getting back into that. It's something I'm very passionate about, but the hosting started to morph and grow, and I'm enjoying myself in that space as well. But from a therapeutic standpoint, and I just still love to be creative.
Yep.
And so I'm getting back, and so look out for some stuff coming out. I put out a couple little things over the last 2 years, but I mean, I'm really looking to take it a bit more serious. Actually put out like a finished project.
Okay.
I've never put out an album, an EP, nothing.
Right.
I was like ADHD. I feel like doing a song, and then that's it. You know what I mean?
Right,
Nothing for 6 months. Crickets.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? And even with Blues Underdog, we never finished any album. We were always just doing a bunch of live shows, which was amazing.
Okay.
But finishing the product, having something that you could present and have. So we're looking forward to it. But
and how long was Blues Underdog a thing?
Blues BUD, man. We were a thing for, I would say, about 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 7 to 8 years, I would say, venture to say.
In the 2000s.
Yeah, right, man. It was a good time, man. Cool. It was a good time.
Okay, so you mentioned hosting. Tell us about this hosting thing. How did that get started? How did you get into that?
So, I mean, you ever read or heard of the book called The Tipping Point?
Yes.
Okay, so
Malcolm Gladwell, right?
Yeah. So it was a strange tipping point. I was with Blues Underdog. We had to do a show at like someplace on a Wednesday night at a little dive downtown Toronto. I think it was like snowing or something. We're like, no one's gonna be there.
Right.
Should we even bother to go? But we're booked. We should go. Keezy, shout out to McKeezy, my boy Chris McKee for booking now. But anyway, so decided to go down to this place. There was like nobody there. It was like 8 people there. We didn't promote it properly. Yada yada yada. But the manager of the place was a gentleman that I ended up, growing a relationship with. So I said, listen, man, I apologize. Let's do it again. Let's run it back, and we're gonna, we'll promote it properly, and let's do it again. Mm-hmm. So we did it again, and that time the host didn't show up. Peter Jackson came through. Peter Jackson came through, legendary, bro. I just gotta shout him out. Man came through with like limos, just ring, 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 ring. Yo, it was just like, yo, who is this? Who's this guy? But I already knew what he was about. But people at the club would be like, who the fuck's this guy? You know what I mean? Came through heavy. But anyways, long story short, I ended up hosting and performing, and through that relationship I developed, I didn't hear from this guy. After those, we did a maybe a series of shows, maybe 3 or 4 of them. Then didn't hear from him for like 3 or 4 years. I happened to be doing like this multi-level marketing thing because I'm always all over the place with shit before. And I heard from him on socials, and I'm like, yo, you hear about this thing I'm doing? He's like, yo, fuck that. I just want to talk to you about the Pan Am Games. And I'm like, okay. He's like, I want you to host the Pan Am Games. So, I mean, that was initially where everything started. So I did the Pan Am Games. I come from a football, around the world is football, in North America and Australia soccer. I wanted to host that. He kept telling me, yo, I got you to do the beach volleyball. I was like, I don't want to do the beach volleyball. I want to do the soccer. Ended up doing the beach volleyball, saw the bikinis. I wasn't too mad, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, it was one of those things where that kind of put me in that position, put me in that space,
right?
And it started everything. I mean, literally, because he ended up, and I'm gonna shout him out right now. His name's Lance Brass, the big bud man right now.
Not Lance Bass.
Not Lance Bass. No, okay. Let's just get that straight, all right? Brass, right? Facts, right? He ended up getting scouted by FIFA from doing the Pan Am Games.
Okay.
And then he said, listen, if this
he got scouted in what aspect? Was he a host as well?
No. Okay, good question. Okay. So he is infotainment manager, in charge of putting the pre-match, the halftime, the different things of that nature. So he got scouted. He said, listen, if I get this, man, we're going to FIFA. I said, get the fuck out of here. I couldn't believe it, man. I was like, wow. So that started 2017. We just started traveling all over the world, working with the biggest clubs in the world in terms of football, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Flamengo, whatever. And it's just been, for me, it's unbelievable because I always grew up playing soccer. I went to school, Division I, NCAA, Cleveland State. And I always did, and I did music and entertainment. So it was entertainment, and it was my two passions. You couldn't ask for anything better. So I mean, unbelievable, and I still I'm just so grateful, and I just have to say all praise due first and foremost, because without God, for me, I would not be here and in a position. So yeah, blessings on blessings.
That's amazing, man. That's very cool to see it come full circle, because I'm assuming whenever you stopped playing soccer, you were probably like, that's it for my life and soccer, right?
Yeah, 100%. I still wanted to play league and stuff like that, but in terms of getting anywhere, that was it, right? Yeah. So it was super brilliant.
Very cool.
Super brilliant.
And so this was off the strength of you hosting this one show.
Yeah, literally. But I noticed I had something too. Yeah. I was like, okay, that just comes a bit more natural to me. You know what I mean? I was like, just come in, because my energy. Exactly. So it was just like, For those who don't know, I'm on some I got a governor right now. Like those cars. They can't go 180. They put a governor so you don't speak too much. Yeah. So right now I'm hypermanic, you know what I'm saying? So I take some pills. I got to take these things. So right now I'm about 120, but them times I was full blast. Okay. No joke. But anyway, I'm grateful to be where I am right now. Right. But the energy, it was something that came really natural to me, and something that he saw in me. So I appreciate that, because I started to host little festivals and different things. And I actually went back to school for journalism and broadcasting. Okay. Because I was like, you know what? After the Pan Am Games, I was like, man, listen, this is something, Yeah. So I went back to school for journalism and broadcasting at Seneca, York. And by the skin of my teeth, I passed through that. I'll tell you straight, man, I was going through, we'll talk about it later, but I was in a heavy in addiction those times. Right. But they saw something in me as well. And I was grateful to get through that. But just unbelievable, Yeah. I quit school. Right, and I told my coach I'm gonna do music, and he was like, "You're crazy, man! Everyone's talking about you. This is Division I. This is the highest level amateur sport."
So you quit?
Yeah, I quit. I left. Okay. My parents were like, "This is crazy."
Why'd you quit?
I got ADHD, man. I just did it. Just in my heart, I felt like I wanted to leave. Well, you know what? I'm gonna keep it 100. There's 2 reasons why I quit. One is I had this group, me and my homie Yosi, my cousin Yosi, and my homie Rolo. We had this group, and we were like in high school. We used to cipher and battle and do a bunch of stuff. But I wanted to pursue that, because at that time I was freestyling like crazy. I was mainly into hip hop them times. You know what I'm saying? And ciphering all over the place, Brooklyn, Cleveland, whatever. It was a wicked vibe, But I'd honed my skills to a point where I said, you know what, this is what I want to do more. And on top of that, the asterisk is I was also in love with this girl.
I was waiting for that.
All right, and I said, you know what? I got two things over here. I got one thing I love over here. Let's go do this thing with the music.
Yeah.
And when I left, my cousin was living in Florida at the time, and he was gonna come up and he started making beats for us, because at that time you're always looking for some producers to make beats, and it was a whole thing. And we said we want to have our own sound, our own. Especially back then, you kind of wanted to have your own. Back then, that was the thing, right? So. Anyways, he didn't end up coming, and then I stumbled into this like a jam space, and there was like a bunch of artists. There was like 3 different bands performing or rehearsing in that space.
Right.
And I would just go in and jump on a mic with these guys, jump on a mic with these guys, and then within a year, we were on tour with the Black Eyed Peas. We were signed to.
And this is Blues Underdog.
Blues Underdog.
Yeah. Okay. Dope.
We were signed with SNL Feldman. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So I mean, people always used to say, so you left. People always thought I left because I had a band. But
right.
I didn't. I just said, I want to go do
worked out
this,
like that. Right. You wanted to do music.
I want to do music.
And so you did music.
Yeah.
It worked out. So you did music.
So
at the point where you were doing that show, you hosted, nobody was there. You met Lance. What was your feeling with music at that point? Were you into it still? Were you feeling like you needed something new? Or
I was doing it, but it was one of those things where, I would say I was distracted. I was always, I'm like a little kid with ADHD to the heaviest, you know what I mean? So I would do something and then I would just leave it alone, you know? Yeah. I'd start something and so it was always start and never finish anything, right? So there was never any finished product. Okay. It was always like, okay, that guy has a crazy live show, his live show was nuts, but, it was no, from a business standpoint, I always U-turn when it came to business, and I should have learned to go right into it because that was a major thing, because I started getting grants. I left Blues Underdog and started to go solo. I started winning video grants from Video Fact, and and things were starting. But again, it would just kind of go a certain point, and then and that's it, So, but looking back now, where I was and what I was up to, I really feel that I probably wouldn't have been ready for it, at that time either. Emotionally, very immature. Right. Stunted. I was heavy into addiction, alcohol, and then later on other drugs, and that became my focus.
So did it start in the music scene, kind of being out at shows, or where did it kind of start?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I was also a used car guy on Kingston Road too. So okay. But at the end of the day, I was drinking, and I was out there, right? But it wasn't like I crossed that line yet, but I was just going really hard.
Young and having fun.
Young and having fun. So it was good and it was amazing at the time, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, it definitely took away from my focus. And again, my business sense, I never really had a good business sense. You know what I'm saying? So it was always like, there's a talent here, but okay. Yeah. What are you doing to really take it seriously? So that's why I respect a lot of the artists out there who really are, took hold of that business side, because you could be, not as talented or whatever.
If your business is right, you can go far.
You can go really far, right? And then it's like a double, it's a double hit if you're talented and you have your business sense. So, at the end of the day, I ended up crossing a line a little later on as things would implode, whether it was the band or things I was doing. I started a radio show, which was pretty dope. It had about 40,000 listeners online. Okay. Before online was a thing. Again, that was going good, and then, that imploded as well. But, so I was always doing things. Okay. And then, say, I want to do this. No, I want to do this. And and that was the issue right there. And the hosting really just kind of put me in a lane where, okay, it wasn't my stuff. It wasn't Najjah's World Entertainment. It was another company subcontracting me out and putting me somewhere. And I felt really comfortable. And it just really shot, like I said, FIFA is, worldwide. It's crazy, right?
Right. And so you talk about crossing a line. When did that line crossing happen?
Yeah. So, I would say 6 years in, I remember seeing people, I talked to bandmates, girlfriends, and they're like, Najjah, we've never seen you sober, or people would say, Najjah, I think you got a problem. And you're like, I ain't got a problem. Don't worry about me, And so people start to tell you, there's an issue here. And my family doesn't live here. They were living in the States. So I didn't really have a support unit from that standpoint. So my friends and family or friends and cousins or whatever, so people start to put that in your ear. So, and you're thinking, I don't have a problem until you really, it just broke down, in terms of, I felt like I had nothing. Because I used to think, how do people get depressed? You know what I mean? I never get depressed. I wake up and I'm like, yo, jumpstart this thing right now. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? And it was just, I just got burnt out, you know, by doing things and not finishing things and things just, you know, imploding. And I just burnt out. And while I was burning out from that aspect, you know, because I was just doing so much, jack of all trades, the master of none kind of thing. Yep. While I'm doing all that, I mean, I'm on the piss, like left, right, and center, you know, like just, you know, just really. And then, like I said, it moved over to like something I thought I would never do, you know, was the yays, man. So I'm bumping lines, and then, you know, I found out that could sober me up so I could drink some more. Like, I wasn't addicted to the cocaine, but it was something that was like, it could, you know, get me back in that space so I could drink some more, because that was my thing, you know. Right. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I would say, you know, I started off, you know, as a heavy drinker, but then I crossed the line, you know, I say around 2012-ish, where it just really, 2011, you know, where it really started to go, where it was like, you know, this, I was obsessed with it, you know, I was gone, you know what I mean?
And it becomes the focus over everything else.
Everything else, really and truthfully. But I was a functional alcoholic in the sense that, you know, I would show up to work, I do what I got to do, but I mean, after, it's game on, you know, it's game on till the next morning, and, you know, then I would have my thing with, like, you know, 4 Gatorades and 2 Advils, and I'm like, okay, look what happened. I'm like, okay, I'm functional again. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? So I always wanted to work, but that was the underlying tone, you know. And
so did it cross over into the hosting, into joining FIFA and all that? And was there?
Oh yeah. Man.
So how were you able? Okay, so how were you able to finally get a hold of it, recognize it yourself, get a hold of it, and then did it have an effect on that part of your career?
Yeah, I mean, in 2019, I was full blast. I mean, I was in south of France, Nice, Paris, Lyon. Women's World Cup, and my God, my first time in Europe, and man, listen, it was a time, you know, and even before I was leaving to go there, right, because in 2016, I'd gone to rehab, right, and got sober for about 11 and a half months, right, but I wasn't really like, you know, I started to think, people say, maybe you don't have a problem, you know? I'm like, you know what, maybe I don't have a problem, you know? And I'm like, nah. Now eventually I'm like, you know what, maybe I don't. Maybe let's just try this one more time. And, you know, even worse, you know, snowball. So by the time 2019 hit.
Snowball.
Yeah, snowball. Right? So by the time 2019 hit, you know, it was just, you know, all hands on deck, you know. My family in the States, everybody, you know, my girl, you know, friends, you know, doing those, what do you call them? What are they doing?
Intervention.
I roll up my homies, shout out to Rich London, man. He roll up, say, what's up? You know what I mean? They're going and sees all the homies backing me down, like, yo, we got to talk to you. Like, it was serious, you know? So, and I love them all for that, you know what I mean?
Well, that's it. You had people who cared about you.
No, 100%. But at the end of the day, it was something that, it was not a self-help program for me, because I always felt like I could do anything, because I could manifest, and I was able to do a lot of things. But this was something I could not do on my own, you know? So I had to get help, and, you know, with a program, I mean, we don't really talk about it on podcasts, that part of it too much, because it's a program based on attraction and not promotion, right? So if someone is going through issues, you know, they would go to seek this help, you know, through the AA program, if that's the case, you know, and that would, you know, that's where I was able to find my my salvation. But again, I'm not here to promote it, because it's not about, you know, it's just more about my journey and what I went through. Because I was going through depression, and I got diagnosed mentally ill, you know, so a whole bunch of stuff that, you know, had to unpack and just kind of repackage and get the proper recipe for me to be successful. Just spiritually. You know, spiritually and emotionally and personally, because once you are good there, your frequency raises. Therefore, you are able to be in a creative space. You're able to be in a loving space. You're able to be present. And when you're in that space, in that energy field, I mean, anything is possible, and life is good, right? So it's not about the accolades and all stuff. You just want to be able to look yourself in the mirror, of course, and feel good, you know?
Yeah. So I'm just wondering if did you have to take time off from hosting? How has that impacted your career? Like, obviously you're still doing it, so you were able to come back from it.
Right. I mean, like, at the end of 2019, I mean, they were like the Women's World Cup, you know, I mean, I showed up just obliterated to a 3rd place match. Wow. You know, and I showed up late, and these guys were like, yo, if it wasn't you, you know, you'd be gone, you know?
Right.
This is crazy, right? And I mean, like, I was barely hanging on and hosting that stuff. So, I mean, I was, they all love me and they respect me, but they knew that there was a problem, and they're like, if this doesn't change, it's over. And then through the grace of God, unfortunately, it was a horrible time for everybody else when COVID hit. 2020, because I was getting ready to go to Tokyo. I just got an agent. I mean, things were just about to be just bananas. But I mean, I was bananas. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was out of control too. Just grounded me in one place, and was able in that space, I just hit another rock bottom, and that rock bottom was able to me to finally say I give up, because I always felt I got Napoleon syndrome too, man. I'm super tall at 5'6", you know what I'm saying? So I mean, I always was like, I could do it, me. And I just realized, I mean, it was scary. I mean, I could take a lie detector test in the morning. I say, Morgan, I'm not going to drink. And the lie detector would be perfect because I believed it, Yeah. And then sure enough, man, through that day, it would just be back down to it. Then you're just like, this is crazy. I cannot control this. And it's scary. When I'm scared, it's bad, bad. And then you're always chasing like the one time you had a good time when you're getting messed up, And there's 20 times out. There's 20 of them where like, you owe every million people money. People want to beat you up. It's a whole thing. You know what I mean? But that one time you're chasing because it's that insanity of the whole thing. So, but through that, I was able to 2020 May 4th. I haven't, but one day at a time, progress over perfection. It's almost 4 years. Sorry. Right now that I haven't, I'm sober. Super grateful. Was able to get engaged. And mad shout out to my fiance, man. She stuck through hell, and that girl's a queen.
Congratulations on all of that. Yeah. Was she there before?
Yeah, of course she was.
She's been there through.
She's been through it all, man. Okay. Like, I mean, Liz, she's been through everything. So for her to stick around through everything, I mean, I just, I just got to just give her a super salute. She always was holding on to the person she knew was there. She kind of knew it wasn't me, and she knew that there was a problem, obviously. So, and then we have a beautiful daughter now.
There you go. Congratulations,
That's mashallah. My little Zen 3 years old, and, no looking back. But, I mean, I have to be aware of this all the time, you know. There's medication I take, and there's stuff I'm doing with my program and all that good stuff. But in regards to professionally, I mean, just a lot more calmer, because everything had to be this super live and instead of maybe sometimes you just really, it doesn't call for that. You just need to be calm and sit down in the chair and interview somebody. You need to, when you want to turn it up, then you let me out the cage. We could do that depending on what we're doing for different segments and so forth. So overall, just in a really good space right now, and just looking forward to the future.
So back to the business.
Yes, back to the business.
Okay, so you had a hard time focusing on the business back in your music career. You were able to connect with Lance, who sounds like he was more of a talent manager kind of. Yeah,
talent manager, infotainment. He was just in charge of the overall thing when it came to putting together, like I said, the pre-match, halftime, and just dealing with that whole hiring process and the creative process as well. Because he's brilliant with that as well.
So how about yourself? How have you been able to kind of get a handle on your bit? Because this is like you're managing your own career, or unless you've now gotten a manager, but I don't know if it's more of an employee-employer relationship that you have with FIFA, or that you need to be on the lookout for your own business in your capacity.
Yeah, no, very good question. So, I mean, we're always subcontracted out. For the most part, sometimes we're hired directly through FIFA, depending on what, the tournament is. But, I mean, at the end of the day, there's bids going out, and there's different various parties that are bidding for these, for the contract. Yeah. And then from that point, I also have to present and, look out for myself and see if I can get the contract as well. So, I mean, it's the nature of the beast, nature of the game. Yeah. As an entrepreneur, I have my own business, Najjah Entertainment. And from that standpoint, we're always looking to bid and see what happens, sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. Okay. Sometimes it's really good for a lot of time, and sometimes it's feast and famine. So it just depends, right? Okay. So that part of the stability process was a bit tough for me, who wasn't really organizing the other aspects of my life and from a business standpoint. Yeah. But I've definitely turned a corner with that in terms of, I always used to feel like if I don't do a hosting gig or I don't do it, then I'm not going to do anything else. Where, now, especially having a child, you got to make sure you're doing anything or everything in between the gigs. And so it's been good to have that sort of stability so that I can grow, and you're not just, because sometimes you might be operating, at the top of the mountain, you're like, oh my goodness. But really and truthfully, if you haven't had a gig for 3 months, by the time you pay off all your bills and you do everything you had to do, you're back to square one. You have the notoriety. People like, holy smokes, you're in front of 60, 50, 80,000 people at a time. But, it is, it's a process. So now I'm just learning to get smarter. And another thing too, as well, for me, I mean, as a hypermanic guy, I've never really go with money either. I mean, no, duh, right? But I mean, well, now I finally succumbed to another thing, which is great. I let wifey deal with the money. I'll give it to her now. Okay. And now, I can start to deal with stuff, because I mean, I'm paying people back from different ventures in terms of people believing in me, trying to get shoot a music video, trying to get promotion for it, and thinking, the old way of doing things is just not the way the machine works right now. Right. So I mean, I learned a lot, because I mean, when I was really not really doing, I was doing okay. I took some gambles to see, okay, let's look to move forward in that music space, and it didn't pay off at all. Right. So and then now you're sitting there in a bunch of debt, you owe a bunch of people money, and then it's it's back to square one.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the game though, right? You got to take risks as an entrepreneur. It's all part of it.
100%.
I'm curious. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
How are you managing, because you're traveling a lot, being away from the family? How is that?
Yeah, that is tough, man. I mean, it's amazing how things turn full circle. When you have a child, my daughter, it's amazing. The lenses literally change. You start seeing life in a different way.
Absolutely, yeah.
And, it's, you just really understand what really matters. I mean, it's amazing, the adrenaline rush. I'm an adrenaline junkie. It's amazing to be in front of all these people, and it's amazing to be able to, the synergy, because one thing about football fans, soccer fans, they are just around the world. It is absolutely nothing like it. Okay. It is tribal. The energy, the love, and, it's amazing, right? Because I feed off people, I feed off energy. So I love that. But I mean, just 180. I mean, as soon as I'm done that, all I want to do is video chat, FaceTime my daughter, fiance, and say what's going on from that standpoint. And it doesn't have the same value as it did. Still love it, but the traveling is a bit of an adjustment, because especially at her age, now she's 3. I mean, they grow and they develop so much over 2 weeks, over a month. You come home, you're like, oh my goodness, right? So it is a bit tough, but at the same time, I also want to be an example to my daughter to follow your dreams. Right. And sometimes you got to do things you don't want to do. And I mean, I want to do it. Don't get me wrong. But you know what I mean? There's some sacrifices there's definitely some sacrifices that have to be had if you want to continue to grow in that space. Right. So
for sure. Yeah. That's a friend of mine asked myself and Cheza, another friend of mine the other day, he's like, since Cheza has 5 kids. I just have 1. So little bit of different levels there.
Yeah, you got some catching up to do.
But the guy asked Trace, who asked us, he just, basically was like, what was the question? It was basically what, like, had more, I don't remember the wording, but more or less what has changed since, becoming a father. It was something a little more structured than that. But essentially, like, to me, it was like almost everything. You know what I mean?
Literally,
like you said, your lens on everything changes.
It does, man. Like, I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, even the way I look at girls, I used to look at girls as like, just want to, let's see what that one, she look, what I mean? And, you're looking at, you want to beat it up, you want to do something, like straight up, you know what I mean? It's that kind of just looking at as, you just want to conquer that, with that alpha energy, or just, whatever. But you're not realizing this is someone's daughter, and there's a different respect level. And mind you, I like to think that I have definitely had respect, but I was just always out to be with girls and all these things, And now it's just like you have a whole different respect, and it's a beautiful thing. That wisdom that you're coming of age of realizing, what the power and the beauty of a female, and nurturing that process from a child to a woman, right? And how to treat my lady better, and treat my sister better, and everybody else. I mean, to be fair, I did, but again, it's just one of the things where when you're out and you're seeing girls, the first thing is what's up? Whoa, that whole immature state of mind, right? So grateful for where I am right now from that standpoint.
Yeah, I also look at it as I said to him, I was like, now it's almost like when nobody's looking, you may have acted a certain way in whatever circumstance. No one's looking, like the shopping cart test. Like, if you put the shopping cart away when no one's looking, right. There's no judgment, but you're doing the right thing in that scenario. So it's almost like in every scenario now, I'm like, what would I want to be doing for my daughter or in front of my daughter?
Right. No, yeah,
right? So
no doubt.
change,
Definitely. Yeah. Even things I wanted to do, like I wanted to get a motorcycle and this, that. I'm like, I don't know if I, there's so much different things. But yeah, in terms of that process, I mean, when no one's looking, you're thinking, okay, well, whatever. No one's looking. It's just me that knows. Yeah. But again, another thing that's developing is more character, right? Mm-hmm. So, it's a whole spiritual shift that I've kind of gone through from that standpoint. Yeah. And, not to say I was a bad guy, bad intentions. It was just that I was, mischievous and just out for the next adrenaline rush, I was looking to escape from reality through things I was doing, That's the bottom line. I couldn't deal with reality on life's terms, and I didn't know that, but subconsciously that's what it was, So, that's life, man. That's life.
What are some of the favorite places you've been?
What I find is an incredible city is Tokyo. I mean, I lived in New York for a bit, and New York obviously is incredible too. But just another level. From technology standpoint, from an advanced futuristic standpoint, and just something just doesn't seem real. Incredible. Tokyo is unbelievable. The fashion. I mean, you can go on and on and on. I mean, it is really brilliant over there. So I think that was an eye-opening thing to go to Tokyo. I definitely love France. I love going to Europe. It was incredible. Cannes, France as well. Yeah. Cannes is brilliant.
You and I were in Cannes.
Cannes. I went there for the
2020.
Shout out to Dio. He brought me out there for some kind of creative festival, and we did a performance out there and got to network and Juice Rochester, you know what I'm saying, and DJ Power and Dancing Way, my homie, who also hosts with me as well. Actually, right now, shout out to him right now. He's actually hosting the F1 right now as well. Nice. But anyways, I mean, France was Europe was beautiful. Yeah. For me, I just want to go over there and watch footy, right? But I thought that was brilliant. And then, of course, going to places where you traditionally thought you're not sure what to expect. Yeah. Like Saudi Arabia. Okay. You're hearing all this news and this, that.
I've heard Saudi's amazing.
Saudi's brilliant. Well, I mean, Saudi, especially now. I mean, they've really just started a quantum leap in that space of trying to, get up to not standard because they had their own standards, but just really develop some areas like that should have been done a long time ago, but it just wasn't what it was. Women driving, festivals and not really a festival, but just an overall. First and foremost, I just want to say people are people everywhere. Yeah. Right. So and we all have the same emotions, human, happy, sad. We see joy in the same things, and it's wonderful that it doesn't matter where you're from. We're all truly human, and we all can get along. So it was amazing. The people there, in Qatar. Dubai is incredible. Dubai, I mean, obviously that's like the jewel of the Middle East. Yeah. But as you see, Saudi's creeping up on them right now. Right. They're doing a lot of things over there to grow, in that space. Qatar and Doha. So the Middle East, I mean, I love the Middle Eastern culture. I love the Middle Eastern people. Really, my Habibis, my Habibis and Habibtis are brilliant over there, man. So yeah, I love the Middle East. And quirky fact is, my name Najjah. They say Najjah. It means success in success in Arabic, which is ironic, right? So, but yeah. I love it.
Ironic or just fitting?
Yeah, or fitting. Yeah. That's it. So we're keeping it moving, right? So,
one of my biggest regrets, my dad lived in Japan when I was probably 15, 16, 17 years old, and I didn't go.
Right.
I lived in Sudbury. I was like, my friends would all be like, "Dad's in China." Like it was all, that's the mentality, right? Back in the day.
No, I totally get it.
It's all just far away, like what's going on over there. And I've always regretted not taking the opportunity to go visit them there. So I'm sure it's incredible.
The world is so amazing. And then with my job, obviously you're getting, whether it's a World Cup, men's World Cup or whatever, or club World Cups or whatever, you're getting countries, I'm getting to meet people from so many beautiful countries, and there's just so many beautiful people out there, because there's a lot of bad news. You're always getting the news, but the people out there, I mean, on a whole, it's just something special, man.
And you get to meet people with everyone coming together over the love of one thing.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, I know, amazing. I mean, I've done some other things which are great. Like, I mean, I hosted like a Muay Thai championship. You know, I did the Mubadala World Tennis Championships where I got to interview and introduce Venus Williams.
Okay.
And so I've done a couple of really cool things as well. But my main thing that I've been doing has been the footy. But through the footy, obviously, you get other opportunities in other areas, right? But yeah, all coming over through one sport for one thing, and for the love of this thing, and it's truly special, man. The magnitude of this thing is just
it is massive.
It's and then, you know, in 2026 is coming here, so I cannot wait for that. You know,
I was just gonna bring that up.
Yeah, the World Cup's coming here, and it's gonna be electric, man. I cannot wait. So we obviously know we're in Canada, the U.S. and Mexico, and it's gonna be.
Are you gonna be part of that? Do you know?
As they say, inshallah. That means God willing. So, I mean, we're lined up to do stuff like that. So, I mean, but again, it's going to be a little closer to that. But that's the space I'm looking to occupy. And I don't see a reason why I wouldn't be doing it. But at the end of the day, you know, until you get the contract, you know, don't count your chickens before they hatch. Okay. You know what I'm saying? But so it's going to be dope.
Love that. Okay, cool. That's amazing. Do you have any prep or anything you do before you have to perform, before you have to host?
Well, the prep before used to be a bottle of vodka, but you know what I mean? But, and it's funny because you thought you needed that liquid courage.
Yes.
Like I was like, okay, this is my thing. You know, before I go on stage or perform, you need this thing, you know, and you know, you just don't need it, right? So now, I mean, really it's more of a ramp up of mentally just preparing myself, a little bit of breathing work, you know, a little bit of quiet time, and then camaraderie and jokes with the team. So I pick my spots to interject with the team, and then we like to leave for a bit and kind of just focus myself at the task at hand, and then we get ready to rock and roll. And then, you know, if I don't have butterflies, then I feel I'm worried, I'm concerned because butterflies means I'm on edge and I'm ready. I'm just perfect.
Excited for it. Still. It still drives you.
So I mean, from my standpoint, it starts in the morning when I wake up, just preparing, and first of all, giving all praise to God for me, and just you know, just going over the day in my head and just visualizing it, right? I like to visualize how it's gonna go. I think that's huge for me. And then when I go there, you know, take my time to myself, and then, like I said, get in with, you know, ease the pressure, ease the tension with the troops, and we all have some fun, and then we get ready to smash that thing, smash it.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Where does this come from?
You know what? I mean, it just came out my mouth one day. I was like, zoom, zoom, zoom. And then I was like, yo. And then I started doing it. It became my tagline. And obviously we have zoom, zoom, zoom with Mazda.
Right.
And I was like, yo, mine's zoom, zoom, zoom. Mine's more of just like, yo, what's up? You know what I mean? And it just became like, it's my bit. People literally, before they know my name, they're like, yo, where's Mr. Zoom Zoom Zoom? You know, They'll be like, are we getting Zoom 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 to come host? Okay, all right, you know, perfect. So it's been my tagline to kind of go around with everything, and just kind of stuck.
Have you approached Zoom to be their front man?
Morgan, listen, we could talk about that. We got to talk about it.
I got ideas.
Listen, that's a good idea. I mean, that would be brilliant, you know. So definitely looking to grow my brand. Like I said, from the business side of things. Now that I'm got my foundation reset, you know, definitely looking to grow in the business side. And these are things, stuff like that, where I need to look, you know, keep an eye out and, you know, really engage with on that side of things, right? And maybe get a manager, and you know, I just got an agent, which is cool. So you know,
because I can see like logging on and you just hear zoom, zoom, zoom.
Right? Bang, bang. That's what we talking about, Morgan.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. For sure.
Very cool, man. So congratulations on the whole journey, on where you're at now, on the family, all that stuff. And you know, what's next? What?
So, well, I mean, of this month, so at the end of this month, I'm going to Dallas, Texas.
Nice.
I'm going down to Dallas. No, sorry, they get mad. It's Arlington. All right. Okay. I'm going to Arlington, Texas.
Okay.
I'm going to Dallas Cowboy Stadium. Been there before, but we're going to be doing something called the CONCACAF Champions League, which is going to be brilliant. CONCACAF is a subsidiary of FIFA, so they basically govern North America, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. So teams in that conglomerate will fight for qualifying spots for the World Cup. But in this case, it's more of Champions League, so it's on a club level. But I'm going down there to Dallas, Texas, or Arlington, to host a number of matches there. So that's a short trip, which I'm happy about, 6 to 7 days. which would be brilliant. Is that me?
That's me.
Oh, okay. That's all good. Yeah. That's exactly my ringtone. You an Android guy? Yeah. We're fighting them iPhone guys, but I don't know I don't know which way to go now. I'm having second doubts, but anyways. But yeah, so
it's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, whole other podcast. But yeah, I'm going to Dallas, and then I might be going to Dubai at the end of April, which should be good. I'm gonna find out about that. And also, I'm really, really, really excited about something that I started with this wonderful empress, this queen named Tanika Riley, working with the kids in schools and with empowerment workshops, bullying workshops, depression, just giving them a sense of culture, identity, and tools to work with. So I joined on with her to do a pilot kind of thing, and now we're looking to engage and bring this thing on a bigger level, grade 4 to 8, and also high school and also college and university. So I'm really, really excited about that. You get so much from it.
Yeah.
With working with these kids, I did a little bit of that. Again, one of the many things I did back in the days. Yeah. But I mean, especially at this point in my life, and having a child, I really want to give back in that capacity, and I'm really, really looking forward to that, man.
You mentioned Dio. I don't know if you've talked to him about that, because he does the whole school tour.
Dio, man. Dio's my G, man. Yo, listen, salute. One of the hardest working. He's a hustler, man. One of the hardest working, talented guys I know. He's just absolutely brilliant, man. And you know what I love about him? He's an open book. Yeah. If you're willing to ask the questions and so forth, he's going to give you that knowledge, because he's one guy he's one of the very few guys who've made it work. Just strictly doing music or some form of entertainment, because I mean, for what he's doing right now, he travels all over. He's on tour. With the schools. I mean, and he's doing something. He's helping. And he's helping. And that's the type of guy he is, man. He's listen, salute to Dio, man. Straight up and down, man. One of those guys, right? So brilliant guy. So yeah, he always told me, Naj, whenever you're ready to get in that space, by all means, I mean, there's so much opportunity there, and they need more people, right? So yeah, Dio's brilliant, man. So
perfect, man.
1,000.
Yeah, look forward to seeing all
1,000,
that.
man. And shout out to Dio for bringing me to Cannes, France. I've never been to Cannes, France before.
Yeah, that's who I went with too. So,
for real, right?
Yeah,
man.
So thank you very much, bro. I appreciate it. Again, congrats on everything. We look forward to seeing even more success, even more Najjah.
Yeah, no doubt, man. You're going to see some more Najjah. Welcome to Najjah's world. We're going to see me in a number of capacities. We're definitely going to be putting out some music. I actually did a song with this guy named Akil Henry. He's won 4 or 5 Grammy he's had 4 or 5 Grammy nominations, and he's just a brilliant young from the next gen. Just doing some amazing things out there. He was the Juno Producer of the Year last year, and I was fortunate enough to be able to work with him. So I'm looking to put that song out. Also putting out some hip hop, just for the love of it, But again, it's progress over perfection. And for me, I'm just happy to do. I'm excited to just do that stuff. It's one of those things. I'm getting back to the things I love, right? Mm-hmm. I'm also playing soccer again, footy again. So yeah, look out for that. Look out for me with the kids, the childrens. You understand me? And also big shout out to Grenada. If anyone never been to Grenada, as a Spice Man from Grenada. All right. So you have to big up Grenada as well. And that's it. Oh, that last thing is Copa America, which is a massive tournament. It's a South American conglomerate, massive tournament. Argentina, Brazil, you name Colombia. I'm going to be involved with that tournament, which is going to be a month over July and June and July, which is going to be crazy. And hopefully Canada, they got to qualify. They have a play-in against Trinidad, TNT. So we go see what happened there, boy.
All right. My man did his own outro. I ain't got to say nothing. Let's go.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Salud, bro.
Big shout out to Najjah for stopping by. Zoom. Stay tuned. Follow this man. Links in the description. Let's go.